Message of His Eminence, Joseph Cardinal Ratzinger, to the Communion and Liberation Meeting at Rimini, August 2002. The feeling of things, the contemplation of beauty. Every year, in the Liturgy of the Hours for the season of Lent, I am struck anew by a paradox in Vespers for Monday of the second week of the Psalter. Here, side by side, are two antiphons, one for the season of Lent, the other for Holy Week. Both introduce Psalm 44, but they present strikingly contradictory interpretations. The psalm describes the wedding of the King, his beauty, his virtues, his mission, and then becomes an exaltation of his bride. In the season of Lent, Psalm 44 is framed by the same antiphon used for the rest of the year. The third verse of the psalm says, "You are the fairest of the children of men, and grace is poured upon your lips." Naturally, the Church reads this psalm as a poetic, prophetic representation of Christ's spousal relationship with his Church. She recognizes Christ as the fairest of men. The grace poured upon his lips points to the inner beauty of his words, the glory of his proclamation. So it is not merely the external beauty of the Redeemer's appearance that is glorified. Rather, the beauty of truth appears in him, the beauty of God himself, who draws us to himself and at the same time captures us with the wound of love, the holy passion, eros, that enables us to go forth together with and in the Church, his bride, to meet the love who calls us. On Monday of Holy Week, however, the Church changes the antiphon and invites us to interpret the psalm in the light of Isaiah 53:2. He had neither beauty nor majesty, nothing to attract our eyes, no grace to make us delight in him. How can we reconcile this? The appearance of the fairest of the children of men is so wretched that no one desires to look at him. Pilate presented him to the crowd, saying, "Behold the man," to rouse sympathy for the crushed and battered man in whom no external beauty remained. Augustine, who in his youth wrote a book on the beautiful and the harmonious, De Pulchra Adapto, and who appreciated beauty in words, in music, in the figurative arts, had a keen appreciation of this paradox and realized that in this regard, the great Greek philosophy of the beautiful was not simply rejected, but rather dramatically called into question, and what the beautiful might be, what beauty might mean, would have to be debated anew and suffered. Referring to the paradox contained in these texts, he spoke of the contrasting blasts of two trumpets produced by the same breath, the same spirit. He knew that a paradox is contrast and not contradiction. Both quotes come from the same Spirit who inspires all Scripture, but sounds different notes in it. It is in this way that he sets before us the totality of true beauty, of truth itself. In the first place, the text of Isaiah supplies the question that interested the fathers of the Church, whether or not Christ was beautiful. Implicit here is the more radical question of whether beauty is true, or whether it is not ugliness that leads us to the deepest truth of reality. Whoever believes in God, in the God who manifested himself precisely in the altered appearance of Christ crucified as love to the end, John 13:1, knows that beauty is truth and truth beauty. But in the suffering Christ, he also learns that the beauty of truth also embraces offense, pain, and even the dark mystery of death, and that this can only be found in accepting suffering, not ignoring it. Certainly, the consciousness that beauty has something to do with pain was also present in the Greek world. For example, let us take Plato's Phaedrus. Plato contemplates the encounter with beauty as the salutary emotional shock that makes man leave his shell and sparks his enthusiasm by attracting him to what is other than himself. Man, says Plato, has lost the original perfection that was conceived for him. He is now perennially searching for the healing primitive form. Nostalgia and longing impel him to pursue the quest. Beauty prevents him from being content with just daily life. It causes him to suffer. In a Platonic sense, we could say that the arrow of nostalgia pierces man, wounds him, and in this way gives him wings, lifts him upwards towards the transcendent. In his discourse in the Symposium, Aristophanes says that lovers do not know what they really want from each other, from the search for what is more than their pleasure. It is obvious that the souls of both are thirsting for something other than amorous pleasure. But the heart cannot express this other thing. It has only a vague perception of what it truly wants and wonders about it as an enigma. In the 14th century, in the book The Life in Christ, by the Byzantine theologian Nicholas Kabasilas, we rediscover Plato's experience, in which the ultimate object of nostalgia, transformed by the new Christian experience, continues to be nameless. Kabasilas says, when men have a longing so great that it surpasses human nature, and eagerly desire, and are able to accomplish things beyond human thought, it is the bridegroom who has smitten them with this longing. It is he who has sent a ray of his beauty into their eyes. The greatness of the wound already shows the arrow which has struck home. The longing indicates who has inflicted the wound. The beautiful wounds, but this is exactly how it summons man to his final destiny. What Plato said, and more than 1,500 years later, Kabasilas, has nothing to do with superficial aestheticism and irrationalism, or with the flight from clarity and the importance of reason. The beautiful is knowledge, certainly, but in a superior form, since it arouses man to the real greatness of the truth. Here, Kabasilas has remained entirely Greek, since he puts knowledge first when he says, in fact, it is knowing that causes love and gives birth to it. Since this knowledge is sometimes very ample and complete, and at other times imperfect, it follows that the love potion has the same effect. He is not content to leave this assertion in general terms. In his characteristically rigorous thought, he distinguishes between two kinds of knowledge: knowledge through instruction, which remains, so to speak, second-hand, and does not imply any direct contact with reality itself. The second type of knowledge, on the other hand, is knowledge through personal experience, through a direct relationship with the reality. Therefore, we do not love it to the extent that it is a worthy object of love, and since we have not perceived the very form itself, we do not experience its proper effect. True knowledge is being struck by the arrow of beauty that wounds man, moved by reality, how it is Christ himself who is present and in an ineffable way disposes and forms the souls of men. Being struck and overcome by the beauty of Christ is a more real, more profound knowledge than mere rational deduction. Of course, we must not underrate the importance of theological reflection, of exact and precise theological thought. It remains absolutely necessary. But to move from here to disdain or to reject the impact produced by the response of the heart in the encounter with beauty as a true form of knowledge would impoverish us and dry up our faith and our theology. We must rediscover this form of knowledge. It is a pressing need of our time.